Hello, everyone, and welcome to the live and public Halloween Patreon Hangout. I am your host, Captain Logan, or for the sake of this evening, Adam West Batman. I've got several of the patrons here. We decided to broadcast live tonight to kind of show you guys the crazy quirkiness we do on a monthly basis here on the Patreon Hangout. We decided what better time to do it than we all are making complete fools of ourselves and wearing our crazy Halloween get-ups. So we'll go ahead and take you down the line and introduce our panel this evening of our awesome patrons. I want to thank these guys, as always, for helping to support us here on the channel. We do lots of fun things with these guys every month for their wonderful help. We really appreciate them. And you guys will have to bear with me tonight because since I'm wearing this, I don't have my glasses, so I'm like totally blind. And I'm going to do my level best. So first of all, so you guys will be able to tell just how nearsighted I am. Here we go. It's everybody. Here we go. So first of all, it's Aiden. And everybody tell us who you're dressed up as when we get to you, no matter how obvious it might be.
Hey guys, I am Old Republic avatar from the online video game. I'm generic Jedi deal. So yeah.
Generic Jedi? That's my favorite.
I know, right?
And next up, it's Connor.
How? Oh, wait, you can't. Is that green? Yeah. I'm Hal Jordan with a beard.
Hey, cool, we have something in common. I'm Batman with a beard.
Yeah, that's great. The bearded DC universe.
Look at us, yeah.
The DC bearded universe.
Now we just need a bearded Flash and a bearded Green Arrow. Oh, wait, that's like normal. That's like the normal thing.
Let's get bearded lumberjack Superman here stat.
Hey, I love bearded lumberjack Superman.
I do too. We got to get him here as soon as possible.
He's the best. You know, I've never reviewed Kingdom Come. I got to do that.
Yeah, see, the real challenge would be getting bearded Wonder Woman.
I saw a lot of those at Comic-Con the other month.
And then, look, it's David Crabtree.
How you doing?
That is a really obscure reference, dude. No one's going to get that. I don't
Wait, just so we can be clear, I'm Captain America with a beer.
Oh.
Oh, man, we can get the whole Marvel Universe with a beer. And then, look, it's Jeffrey. What's on your head?
Coonskin hat. Also McGovern for president because I'm Robin from the future. But also, I guess, spoilers, very spoilery. In the third season of Legends of Tomorrow, I will be on it. And I'm going to be just doing poetry. Kind of going to be my thing. I may or may not get killed off at some point in the timeline, but don't worry, I will not die. It kind of works like that. It's how the CW works. Not going to lie to you, Cap.
That's great. So he's going as CW superheroes. That's absolutely fantastic.
Just going
I'm
as
thinking
generic, not Robin.
I might consider that costume. Hey, look, it's Cody.
Hello. In case it's not obvious, I'm Black Canary.
You know, there's a lot of variations of that suit. That's one of the less common ones. Yeah.
It is.
I like your suit. Good job. Did you make
Thank
that,
you.
or is that a store-bought one?
It's homemade.
Cool. I thought maybe so, but it's hard to tell sometimes with web video.
Yeah.
And look, it's Michael.
Hello. I am a Grand Moff.
It's Grand Moff Michael.
Yes, minus 2 rank cylinders because they fell off when I was putting it on.
So
yeah.
I've been demoted.
If anybody's still unclear about the difference between Star Wars and Star Trek. It's just the difference between pips and cylinders. And then we've got Trevor.
Hi, I am a thrown together Pokemon trainer.
It works.
There's always got to be one.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Cool. Well, thanks all you guys for being here. Love your outfits. And now we're going to, as we always do with the live hour-long Patreon chat every month, talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. I asked these guys to come prepared with Halloween-type topics, things that are appropriate for this month and this time of the year. Anything these guys want to talk about. I imagine some horror things might come out. I imagine just some generic Halloween stuff might come out. Let's find out what people want to talk about. And I'm going to choose this time based on my favorite costume. And my favorite costume has got to be Cody's Black Canary suit. I think that's a really great suit. Cody, what do you want to talk about tonight?
Well, here's an open question to the floor. Are there any costumes that you really love, but you don't think you could pull off as a cosplay or a Halloween costume? That's my question.
Yes. Yes. And all right, my original choice for this year was actually Kylo Ren, and I got the Black Series helmet and everything, but it looked terrible on my body type. Like I have no shoulders whatsoever, and yeah, I was thinking of like recycling my jacket I got when I win a Spike for Comic-Con. Just to do like a millennial kind of Kylo Ren thing where it's like a leather jacket with a Darth Vader t-shirt and the helmet, and it looked awful. I could.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, it is, but the helmet looks weird on my shelf.
Oh, that's good. It's good. At least it looks good someplace.
Yeah.
You know, I've never let that bother me too much. I'm a short person, and I keep cosplaying as characters that are much, much taller than me. I was probably the shortest Spawn in the history of short Spawns. But my definitive answer is probably Galactus. Like as much as I've been able to do these like taller characters that are, I don't think a 5'6" Galactus will work out.
So you could go as Spawn Might.
Spawn Might,
Yeah,
sure.
Little Spawn Might.
Todd McFarlane just did a humorous comic that's kind of like that, where it's like a tiny chibi Spawn. It wasn't even remotely funny. The art was great, but yeah. So now there's precedent. Somebody could go as that guy.
Was it as funny as Spawn usually is?
Not in the right way. Yeah, because it's usually fun to make fun of it for how like serious it's attempting to be, and where you can't even remotely take it seriously, and like somehow rather trying to be funny is almost worse than trying to be dramatic. Who else has a costume that you'd love to do, but it's just not for you? It just wouldn't work out.
I would love to be Robot Man from the Doom Patrol, because that jacket is awesome, and I hope they make a Doom Patrol movie sooner or later so we can like mass produce those awesome jackets with like the big metal things on the shoulders. But I don't have the physique of Vin Diesel, so I can't be Robot Man, because I'm not like having like all that big mask and like the hands and being top heavy. Yeah, I'd love to do that, but I couldn't.
Sounds like me and Connor have a trip to the gym to make.
Yes, sir.
Anybody else want to do that one? Field that question.
Well, I would say basically any superhero, because I'm also a short person, but I'm also extremely skinny. So it doesn't really work well, like, at all.
Yeah, that's my problem, is I'm pencil thin.
Well, yeah, that's my problem.
You could go as Superman when he was experimented on in Flashpoint.
Yeah.
That's a very specific thing to cosplay as, but yeah.
Yeah, but if you look like a noodle, that's perfect, right? Like
You could tag along with David and be Steve Rogers, like hold a before sign in front of you and be Steve Rogers before the Super Soldier Serum.
That's
I'll just
great.
carry, like, a massive table with me and say, I will at some point lay on this and be experimented upon, and then you'll see.
Well, you could go as the Nicolas Cage Superman.
I thought you were going to say Ghost Rider.
I love the idea of carrying a table around. That's so funny, and you're just like who are you supposed to be? I'm Steve Rogers, about to be experimented on. That's great. Anybody else? Cody, this is a great question.
Red Hood. Wait, is
Anybody
anyone fielding it?
Anybody could be Red Hood.
No, but specifically the Grant Morrison Batman and Robin Red Hood with the giant dome helmet and then the motorcycle jacket with the white shirt. I tried to be that. Very impractical because you can't see out of it, and I fell 10 feet down a hill.
Oh, no.
And landed in someone's garden.
See, for some reason I'm picturing this exact same scenario, but it's Judge Dredd. And like you get up and like somebody walks out because you landed in their garden, and you're like, "I'm the law.
Don't worry, civilian.
Don't take this helmet off my face." Okay, let's get another question or topic, and let's get it this time from Trevor.
Okay.
Because he's not wearing it. I mean, he's a Pokemon trainer.
Cold.
Gotta catch them all. Okay. My question is a very simple one. Do you believe in the supernatural?
Ooh, that's a good one. Cool. My answer is very simple. I'm always open-minded. I don't have a specific, definite belief or not. I haven't ever seen anything that I could call supernatural, but I always keep my eyes peeled. And usually I also wear glasses so that I can see while my eyes are peeled. But at the moment, I'm not doing that. Does anybody here definitively believe, yes, indeed, there must be something supernatural among us? And we don't mean aliens. We mean like the occult or something celestial or ghosts or something.
Yes, but that's just mostly because of my religious beliefs.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's where I was gonna go. Like, over the last couple of years, like me and Rasco talk about this all the time, but it's like, I've become really sort of cynical about things where when you're younger, you're like, oh my gosh, life is an awesome adventure to go on. Like, there's all these great stories you're gonna have. No, life just kind of sucks. But at the same time, I still have a religious dogma that I associate with. So it's just weird contradiction that I have. So I don't really know what to say.
Sure, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, yeah, you can't believe in any kind of a deity and not say you don't believe in the supernatural to some degree.
Yeah. So I guess there's a little bit of magic in the world. Not a lot, but a little bit of magic in the world.
I may have just inadvertently revealed something about myself. Let's hear from somebody else. Anybody definitely believe in the supernatural?
I mean, I'm not opposed to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I've like personally seen things because of my religious beliefs that, you know, I can't explain with anything but, you know, the supernatural. Like about a month ago, I went on a Christian retreat, and there was a blind girl who got baptized, and after she was baptized, her eyesight was partially restored. So, you know, stuff like that.
Anybody else?
See, I mean, as the asker of the question, I will say I personally am open to all forms of Jensenacles.
Well, if I believe the show exists, then yes. I haven't seen it, but I know it exists.
Let's get one from Jeffrey this time, if Jeffrey's got one.
It's a little bit of a odd question, and in my mind, it's Halloween appropriate, but I do not know. I watched your you made me watch adaptation, and I immediately started thinking about adaptation and doing something in a similar vein with one of Frank Miller's later works of someone taxed to adapt, like something like Holy Terror, and just having a complete mental breakdown, almost Birdman style, and mixing with that. Is there any kind of like anyone besides Frank Miller, really, you think you could do that with necessarily?
That's a good question.
You mean that you could do a movie about a person trying to adapt specifically that thing and it drives them mad? Is that what we're saying?
In a way, but is it? Sure. Yes, I give up on the question.
No, it's totally cool. I just need you to elaborate a little bit on your question. I don't think I quite understand.
I'm formulating the question in my head as I'm saying it, which is not good. Is there any person whose content would basically drive you crazy as you're trying to adapt it because it's not necessarily unadaptable, but in the case of Frank Miller, Holy Terror, like it would just, as a fan, drive you apart as you're trying to bring out the goodness for a mass audience?
Oh boy, the first thing that comes to mind is multiversity.
Ooh.
Just imagine it. Just imagine trying to adapt. And it's another one of those things, Grant Morrison, it's another one of those things like with Watchmen where, you can look at it as the unfilmable graphic novel. It's about comic books. That's more about comic books than anything I've ever seen.
Yeah.
You wouldn't want to adapt that. That seems like a horrible idea. But it made my mind explode reading it. I can only imagine trying to turn it into something. Like what living in that world in order to try to bring it to the masses would be. Yeah, that's my answer.
Great answer.
When it comes to multiversity, like I don't know how you the panel structure becomes so integral to the climax of that particular story. In that final issue, which is multiversity number 2. But at the same time, you got Captain Carrot. You have flashes. You have flashes from all the universes just doing a single punch. Like that's sort of cinematic. So I can see.
Oh, there's a lot of cinematic stuff in it. But Connor, what I was thinking
No. I agree. Like it's like there's I can understand where somebody would want to go there, but driving them absolutely insane trying to do it just wouldn't hold up.
Because the problem is when you read Multiversity, you're a character in it.
Yeah.
You're part of the story, and the different the different dimensions are all held together by different comic books. So if it's a movie, what is it now? Is it all the different universes are held together by DVDs, or you couldn't put it in the movie theater unless you made it film? What is it?
Hop to this theater to watch this part, then you have to go across the hallway to that theater to watch the second part, and then you have to go back in time to the 1950s to watch this particular reel of film, and you come back. It's impossible.
Yeah, the only way you could do it is still make it a comic book thing and just get rid of the fourth wall breaking element. That's the only way I could see remotely doing it.
Yeah.
Chaos magic.
I guess you could maybe do it like a never-ending story type thing where it's actually about someone reading it.
Yes, that's good. And then you could pretend like they're in the world you live in, so you could potentially also go get that comic and go in that world.
What if it's a movie
you're
about
watching it doesn't make it happen like it does in Multiversity.
What if it's somebody trying to adapt Multiversity and that's the story, and then the characters come into this world and try to stop you from adapting it? Yeah.
Yeah, then it's supernatural adaptation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anybody else have another good one?
I'd say just due to scale, Crisis on Infinite Earths would be a real hard one to do.
Yeah, and I always feel weird about adapting anything Crisis because the whole point of it is to reboot something that pre-existed.
Exactly, which is why it would make no sense to adapt, and anyone trying to do it would go mad.
That's why I always thought Flashpoint Paradox was so weird, because it's this alternate universe of a universe that we've never explored before. Technically. All right, let's go to something else. David, what do you have for us?
Here's more of a question. Because me not being the big comic book reader, has there been any significant or favorite storyline that's taken place in and around Halloween?
A long Halloween.
Long Halloween, notwithstanding.
Yeah, I mean, that's the obvious one. I feel like I've read a bazillion comics stories set in Halloween or at Halloween, and other things aren't immediately coming to me. Anybody got things that flash?
I don't know if it's in the comic, but The Crow.
Yeah, I don't remember if that's in the comic either. I just finally got a copy of that. I'm going to have to read it.
Well, New Frontier takes place over years, so Halloween's in there somewhere. So that's a good one.
I know there was it's not a comic, but there was an episode of the 2003 Ninja Turtles on Halloween.
That was a really great question, David. Thanks, man.
Thanks.
Oh, it would have been great if we had anything to say. Connor, what would you like to talk about this evening?
I had an idea, but then I realized it was Halloween, so then I had to change it. So, what if? Oh wait, no, not what if. What is an adaptation, whether it be a comic book adaptation, a novel adaptation, a film adaptation, of a horror story do you find is superior than the source material? Because my go-to is The Shining. I think Stanley Kubrick made a better film than King made a better book. And it's about different things, and they're not really similar, but they're similar enough. I just think that Kubrick made a more interesting piece of art. So what's a horror adaptation that you think is better than a source material?
It's a great question. I don't have one right off because I can't think of very many horror films where I've also read the book. I've either read a book and didn't bother with the movie, or I've seen the movie and didn't bother with the book, or I like the book better. I've seen Firestarter, but it's an infinitely better novel. I've heard most people say Psycho is better.
Oh yeah, and people say Jaws is better too. Well, I mean, has anybody read the short story or the serial, whatever it is, of Reanimator, and then watched the film to compare the two?
Yeah, Eric has, but he says they're very different things.
All right.
Connor, I thought you were going to cut off there. I thought you were going to be like, does anybody read?
Does anybody have a horror story they'd like to see adapted? There you go.
Ooh, that's good.
Into another medium. It could be a film turned into a comic book. It could be whatever.
My life.
Darn, you stole my answer. I was going to say your life too.
It's a story about a man with a kidney stone, and he's not even 20.
It sounded like Rod Serling. The man with a kidney stone, and he's not even 20 in the 20s.
And the most exciting thing that's happened in his week is putting on an Imperial costume with cylinders that he's dropped to on some random dude's YouTube channel.
Who's dressed up like Adam West Batman with a beard.
It's true, yeah, you know. But we're not here to talk about my problems. Yeah, any horror stories people can think of that you'd like to see adapted?
There's probably some good, creepypastas out there that could be adapted.
The Art of the Deal?
No,
well, he went there, didn't he?
Johnny Depp did a 60, 70-minute short called The Art of the Deal, the movie, and the joke is that it's a 1990s, late at night thing based on the book where Johnny Depp is playing Donald Trump. It's really, really funny.
Sounds awesome.
I think it's online somewhere, but it's kind of funny. I would love to see somebody do another stab at like a Twilight Zone anthology film. I know they're doing one, but it's not going to be based on any episodes. I think you could link some episodes in there to kind of make it like a one continuity. Like there's the Flight of Odyssey, the Odyssey of Flight, something or other, and you could combine that into I Shot an Arrow into the Air. Like you could, I don't know, find some threads to kind of combine it all. And I'd like to see another stab at a Twilight Zone movie.
Connor, do you think you could do a Goosebumps thing where you have some of those characters meet each other?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That'd be awesome. That'd be awesome. There's a I Shot an Arrow into the Air has some of my most quotable lines from Twilight Zone. Like, you shot him, Pearson. You shot him, and I'm gonna make sure you don't get. And then he has the almost over the top death, where he's like crawling down the dune and just screaming the whole time. Great. We need to have a big screen adaptation of that.
See, this is why editing is fun. You go in, you can take that. We have that on film now. We can go take Connor. Like, my favorite line is when the guy goes, "Ah!"
That could be a great transition.
I love that part. Hey, Aiden, what do you want to talk about?
Okay, so, well, it's Halloween. And my question is, what's some...
Is this a riddle? I'm sorry, can you do that again? We totally missed all of that.
Okay,
I got what?
What's something that terrified you as a child?
Oh, cool. That's great. Why don't we just go down the line? I'm sure everybody can think of a good one for that.
I can think of a dozen Cards Against Humanity cards that works well with this question.
I might think of another one because you guys have probably heard me say this before, but one of mine is The Brave Little Toaster.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. That movie mortified me. I had nightmares. And then I finally went back a few years ago and watched it again, expecting it to be like, I don't know what I found so mortifying about. Oh, no. It's still horrifying, that movie. Yep. I was in my late 20s, and it was still really, really wrong. Hey, Connor, what's something that terrified you as a child?
I was really easily scared as a child, so I don't know what it was, but it was movie trailers always scared me. It was maybe like going to the movie.
Just trailers in general?
Well, yeah, because it was one of those things where I didn't know if something would be scary in the trailer, so I'd just be on edge, ready to cover my eyes, and the music.
Still do that sometimes.
The music will swell up, and I'll be like, "Good," and then it'll cut to black, and I'm like, when it comes back on, it's gonna be something scary. Like I remember going to see Attack of the Clones, which was scarier than any of the trailers that came before it. By the way, and I remember there was the poster for Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, and it was just Dobby standing in the woods, and it scared the hell out of me because like, what is that? And it's all darkly lit, and he's looking over his shoulder, those big ol' eyes, and then he was the most annoying character in the movie, but it scared me. And then, like, when walking in, I didn't go to the movie theaters a lot when I was a kid, but the lighting and the way they have, like, the air in a movie theater, it was so alien to me as a kid that it was kind of intriguing, and the thought of going there was neat, but actually being there, I would, then I would sit down, and my eyes would be like, and yeah. Just movie trailers, though, really freaked me out, especially when they showed horror movie trailers on TV. I was like, oh, my God, they got me at my house. And I would go into another room.
Wow. That's really interesting. I imagine the scariest image for Connor has got to be the ideal 1950s suburban neighborhood.
What makes you say that?
Because it opens and you got, like, the swelling piano music, and then it's like, that either could be like a romantic comedy or everyone gets axe murdered, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Equally scary.
That could go any place.
Yeah.
For sure.
Let us not forget the quaint summer camp. That is just terrifying image right there.
Yeah, and that almost always turns into a horror premise. Or it turns into a comedy that's bad enough it ought to be a horror premise. Hey, David, what's something that terrified you as a child?
You know what? It's funny. I wouldn't say this really terrified me, but when I was a real little kid, I actually believed there were like monsters and stuff under my bed. So I would actually, in my mind, befriend the monsters and be like talking to my buddies before I went to sleep.
That's awesome.
Oh, hey, Fred, how you doing?
That's great. That's really smart. He preempted it. He's like, no, the monsters aren't going to attack me. We play pinochle.
I get
stuff.
it.
That sounds like a great premise for a children's film. How has that not been done?
That's really good. That's a good point.
Well, Little Monsters was kind of like that with Howie Mandel.
Right, yeah. And Fred Savage.
And then the end of Monsters, Inc. is they're all clowns. Hey, Jeffrey. I can't wait to hear what terrified you as a child. Jeffrey.
Take your time.
Hello.
He's scared speechless to talk about it.
He's scared of Captain Logan.
The thing that most mortified me was Captain Logan in a bat suit. I saw the future and it was terrifying. I came to this live show because it was fated.
You can't avoid destiny.
Destiny. I had to be here, but all day long I've been like this.
I had a friend who was scared of Adam West Batman Cowell's eyebrows. I just remembered that.
I had a conversation with Eric about this last week. He was like, I never understood why it has like a square right here. Like, why'd you draw that? Like the eyebrow's okay, I guess, but like, why is that there? But it's really distinct. Like, I can't imagine this cowl without it, but it's weird.
It is weird.
And then it's like, why did they stop there? You know, they could have just kept highlighting things. Like,
really pronounce the cheekbones on the side.
Yeah, it'd be like muscle chest before muscle. You know, it'd be like that. And yeah. So we still haven't heard from Jeffrey.
How? Oh,
Jeffrey, are you gonna tell us about something that scared you when you were a kid?
I had a lot of caffeine today. I'm very amped up. I'm sorry if I'm a little reserved now. I'm kind of crashing. Clowns. Clowns terrified me. Also vampires. I once projected all of my fears into one particular toy, and then symbolically, I threw him in the front yard of my house and would just like, go away. And they never did. I had very clowns and vampires.
Was it what kind of toy was it?
I think it was, I'm thinking like Monster Squad Frankenstein.
Ooh, all right. I was thinking
it was a nice kind of toy, but I get into fits of irrationality sometimes, and I get very compulsive, and I throw things out, I break things. Yeah, but terrified of clowns.
Well, unfortunately for Jeffrey, the free gift you get when you sign up for Patreon is a vampire clown in the mail.
How dare you, Cap?
That explains the weird package I got.
I know people keep asking me why I send vampire clowns, and I'm the only one doing it. You know,
so
I knew it would be unusual.
Nice guy. He cooks for me, cleans for me. He's just real cool.
Yeah, he's a nice guy, and he doesn't mind being sent through the post office.
And he's hilarious.
And he's totally cool going priority mail. It's amazing.
And his post office jokes are hilarious.
Hey Cody, what were you scared of?
So I couldn't think of something at first. Connor mentioned Harry Potter, which reminded me. So I used to read the Harry Potter books before I went to bed, and there was one scene where Draco, I think he broke one of Harry's legs or something, and paralyzed him in some way, and left him with the invisibility cloak on him in the train when everyone was leaving. then the child went to sleep. And I was up for hours thinking of being alone and invisible and not being able to move and dying that way. And that terrified me.
Oh. You in a Doctor Strange costume made that story really cool.
Origin story.
That's a Black Canary con.
Look, the man is doing his best gender bend, okay? Like, you need to let him have that, all right? I'm just imagining, Cody, you in that costume, like, at a campfire, like, telling scary stories, being like, this one time I read Harry Potter. Like, it wouldn't be scary at all if it weren't for the getup. you're like, and then invisible on a train. Everybody's like, woo! But yeah, that is a scary thing to contemplate, certainly. Did anybody here ever watch Freakazoid?
Yes! Freakazoid! Oh.
Freak me.
Oh.
Freaky.
You remember they're all around the campfire, and they're trying to explain what the scare, like each of the kids and Freakazoid's there. It's like, what's the scariest thing you could possibly imagine? And everybody's and like one kid is like, and this is like the definitive one that everybody's freaked, like, the scariest thing would be if everything in the world turned into wood. And then everybody's like, ooh. And then the next kid is like, and remember, this is like 1993, 94, or maybe a little bit later than that, 95. The scariest thing in the world would be if Sinbad got another TV show. Ooh. And like with that one, everybody gets up and runs off. But then you got the kid who goes, the scariest thing in the world would be if you reached for something and it wasn't there. And then everybody just like looks at him and they're like, okay. And then he tries to save himself real quick and he goes, because it turned into wood. And then everybody's like, loses their mind. Oh my wood. I haven't watched that show in forever, but for some reason that always stuck with me.
I remember I thought that...
Sorry, go ahead, Connor.
I was going to say, I always thought that Freakazoid and the Mike Allred character Madman, I always got them confused when I was a kid.
That seems like such a clear crossover just waiting to happen.
It does. Like, the very first comic that I ever got was Superman Madman Hullabaloo, because my grandpa installed satellites, and the guy he installed a satellite for was like, hey, you have grandkids, here's some comics. And so I read that as a kid.
Let's find out what's something. Let's all get vulnerable. Hey, Michael, what's something that scared you when you were a child? And also, what's your social security number?
Oh, let me pull that out real quick. No. Seeing how we're all bringing up Harry Potter answers, apparently, when I was a youngster, I had a DVD of Yu-Gi-Oh! The movie. And on that DVD, there was a preview for Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. And I don't know why, but this has always stood out in my mind, is there's like one part in the trailer for that where like on the weird bus, you see like the driver has like a severed head in there and it goes like, mind your head. And it's really freaked me out as a kid, so.
So the lesson...
I thought where you were going with that was you were afraid that your parents just didn't buy you enough trading cards.
Yeah, pretty much. I wasn't an adequate duelist.
The lesson we learned here is that while Harry Potter was sold as a young adult thing, it really should not have been shown to children at all.
Those devils.
Everybody's like, oh my god, it just Harry Potter scared me. That's great. Hey Trevor, what's your when I was a child Harry Potter scared me story?
Well, I could bring up Harry Potter, or I could bring up the basic thing, or I could bring up the thing that I think is the most interesting. When I was a really young child, like whenever I was alone in a room, I'd be afraid there was this horrible like creature stalking me in the shadows. Like, but always out of sight. Like it could shapeshift, so you wouldn't know it was there. But like it was just in my mind, this horrible, freakish thing that wanted to like harm me in some way.
Anyone else hear that scream?
I always hear voices.
Yeah, I was really scared of all those things in the shadows because they might have turned into wood. Has everybody revealed their horrible childhood nightmares?
Believe so.
A quarter of which were Harry Potter things?
I haven't done yet.
I'm sorry, Aiden, you asked the question. Yeah, go ahead.
I did, yeah. So when I was around 10 or 11, the Peter Jackson King Kong movie came out, and where they first get on the islands and they see the little girl, and I don't remember the rest of it. I just remember closing my eyes every time that scene came out, every subsequent viewing. But I knew something scared the hell out of me from that scene. And something about it just stuck with me for years. Every time I went upstairs and closed the lights off, it was just like I imagined that little girl somewhere in the corner of the room just waiting to jump out at me when I turned off the lights. And yeah.
It's interesting how we're all big, pop culture fans, and pop culture, is a thing that comforts us and is good escapism, and we run from reality sometimes to it. But then it's also the thing that most of us are going to for the thing that freaked us out the most.
I mean, I guess the serial killer down the street was kind of scary, but not as scary as going to the movie theater.
Yeah, Connor, I like what you said about movie theaters in general. I had that with at some point when I was a little kid. I had to go to a really dark and spooky and very large and old Catholic church, and I never forgot that. And it started showing up in my dreams and stuff. And there was a room there, and I don't know what the room was for. If it was like a confessional or what it was. But I always remember this. This is one of my earliest recollections. I always remember this, candle that's in the corner, and that's the only source of illumination. And the shadows it cast and stuff made this small room look a great deal bigger than it was. Mm-hmm. And for some reason, that always stuck with me, and becomes sometimes the setting for dreams I have. And I was probably 3 or 4 or 5.
Wow. There's a lot of places I remember whenever you would kind of break the status quo as a child and you would go into someplace new, it was so weird and unpredictable for you that your insides would freeze up and you were just taking in this new environment and walking around, the air feels differently and the way it's lit, it's very interesting. Visiting a family member's house, it's different. I don't know. It's very interesting, experiencing new places as a child.
Yeah. Guys, with 10 minutes remaining, I would like to ask one final question and run round robin again. I want to know if you can remember what your first Halloween costume was, and also what your favorite Halloween candy was. If you can remember, if you can give me those two things, and we'll start this time with David. David, what was the first Halloween costume you had?
That I remember, I was Gizmo.
Oh, cool!
And that was when they had those Halloween costumes where it was just the plastic costume and then the plastic mask with a rubber band that goes around.
Yeah.
And probably the candy I always looked forward to was Smarties.
I don't know if you guys saw the collection video I did for my Tick collection, but I have the crappy 90s plastic Tick costume. And it's one of those hilarious suits where instead of even attempting, and I don't know if your Gizmo suit was like this, instead of even attempting to make the outfit look like the character, they just make it like a T-shirt and they just put a picture of the character on it.
Yeah, it has just a logo or a picture or a logo of the it says Gremlins on it, and it has but it doesn't. Yeah, that doesn't look anything like. There's no character. The only character is basically in the mask, and that's it.
Yeah, the rest of it's basically like a skin-tight poncho.
Yeah. And I remember it was cold out, and I had to wear I basically had to stretch it over like 2 or 3 sweatshirts.
Hey Jeffrey, what was your first Halloween costume?
I can't remember my first, but I can definitely remember an interesting one. Spider-Man. But specifically, I wore a complete Spider-Man outfit as like 5, under all my school clothes, wore that to school. Then at the bus stop coming home, I decided to rip all of it off and run home. And Kit Kats.
Hold on, I pulled my cord out.
That was like a Mr. Goodbye delivery.
Okay, for Cody.
Earliest one I remember was actually Batman, I think. Most of my costume superheroes of one sort or another over the years, give or take. And favorite candy, probably Swedish Fish.
Oh yeah, Swedish Fish. And you don't get Swedish Fish a lot like when you go trick or treating, right? Like, it doesn't come up a lot.
Yeah.
We always give them out here because that's one of my favorite things.
I'll have to fly in this year to get some.
Cody, do you have a sister?
No.
Okay, I just thought maybe like
What?
you had a sister that was Black Canary one year, and you always wanted to be Black Canary. So, Michael.
I can't remember my first Halloween costume. I don't remember most of mine, actually. I know, like, one year I was Palpatine.
Much of my existence.
Yeah, whatever. I just have a real bad memory. I remember one year I was Palpatine. One year I was, like, Davy Jones from Pirates of the Caribbean. And I'm also really boring when it comes to the candy I like. I just like standard Hershey bars.
I like Hershey bars. That never gets old.
Yeah, that's pretty much why.
I was hoping you were going to say Davy Jones from the Monkees.
Yeah, and it ticked me off because everyone thought I was Chekhov. It's obnoxious. It's like I did not write any plays in the mid-1800s.
I say that more often than you'd think.
It's odd how often this comes up, really. Trevor!
The other one I can remember probably would be like Spider-Man. And I think that was also a year that for some reason my family decided to host like this neighborhood Halloween party thing in our garage. So like we just had a bunch of people come over, and I don't think I actually went trick-or-treating that year because like we had the party thing going. But as for subsequent years, my favorite candy I usually look forward to is Reese's.
We used to have a haunted house at my house. And we would actually turn our whole house into a haunted house, and you'd go through the garage. And this was before the days of cell phones. So we had 2 lines in my house. One for we still had a dial-up line even when we had cable internet, which we kept for some reason. And one of the things we would do with a haunted house is people would come through the basement, and or they'd go up from the top. They'd come into the basement, and then a phone would ring, and they would have to answer it. And it always freaked people out because they'd be like, "Oh, how's their phone? How's the people in the house calling the phone? How are they doing that?" And it was me in a room right next to that room, just doing like a really spooky voice. And I'd be like, like walk over to the couch. And then my brother is in like this full black unitard thing with a creepy hood, and you can't even tell he's there because it's pretty dark in the basement. And you go to the couch, and then Dennis would stand up, and he would just follow them.
I thought you were gonna say your brother was a couch.
My brother was a couch.
In the basket.
Yeah. For some reason, every year he went as a couch. I don't understand that. I told him he'd make
touch all the butts.
I told him he'd make a great Black Canary, but Aiden, what was your first Halloween costume?
Halloween.
Aiden, unfortunately, your connection is not great, and I kind of thought you said French fries.
They're freedom fries.
Can you hear me? Aiden, did you go as French fries?
Yeah,
You are what you eat.
I've been having server issues for the past week or so. I'm trying to get it figured out.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah. My first Halloween, I was 4 months old, so I'm quite positive I didn't dress up. My first Halloween costume I remember was I was 4 years old, and I was a cow. And I don't remember trick-or-treating, but I do remember trying it on for the first time and telling my mom how excited I was that I looked just like the kid on the costume cover.
Aww.
And yeah, but my favorite Halloween candy was probably candy corn up until last year when I realized just how grossly unhealthy it was and couldn't stomach it, literally couldn't stomach it anymore. And now I'm moving on to probably Reese's.
Which he's going to refuse to do any research on.
What you don't know can't hurt.
Hey, have you talked about yours yet? What are you doing, Connor?
Oh, me. Oh,
Why are you shining a light in your mouth?
hey, the Green Lantern ring looks delicious, okay?
What is that? Are you doing your own dental work?
Well, yes, when you're a Green Lantern, you save bill payments because I'm poor.
He's a fan of the Green Lantern ring pop.
Yeah, obviously. Thank you. So, I love Halloween. My stepmother dresses up our house in Halloween time like you wouldn't believe. And we play pranks on each other, like putting Nosferatu, like a life-size Nosferatu thing inside of people's rooms while they're asleep. So when they wake up, it's awesome. So I remember a couple of years ago when I was Heisenberg, I shaved off all of my hair. I remember being the Joker a couple years from the Heath Ledger Joker. And I was like, Yoda for... So, by the way...
Everybody okay?
But the very first the very first costume I ever went as, me and Spencer, we were Batman and Robin by Adam West and Burt Ward. We had our... Spencer was Adam West Batman, and I was Burt Ward Robin. And Spencer, we couldn't find an Adam West Batman mask, so our dad took an old hat he had and like cut it so like he could like make the brim, like the ears, and like it was really really cool. And we ran around the mall and we're like, we're Batman and Robin. It was awesome. So, but the best candy. Now I hate peanut butter, but I love chocolate. So my favorite candy is just a Hershey's Kisses or Hershey's bars. Just eat the chocolate. Nothing but chocolate. It's the best.
It's going to be the name of Connor's autobiography. Nothing but chocolate. Connor, when your dad made that mask, did he draw the nose part?
He did.
Did he get the eyebrows? Did he? Cool.
Yes. My dad was born in 1966, so he's as old as Star Trek, he's as old as Batman 66, and he's as old as the Super Bowl. So, like, these are all things he's grown up knowing his whole life. So he knows Batman 66 so well, and it's awesome.
Son, you must put grease paint on.
That's the best way to describe your parents. How old's your dad? He's as old as Star Trek. So mine's not going to be that interesting, honestly. I mean, the first pumpkin, and then I think I was Batman after that. I've probably been Batman at least 6 or 7 times. I think a different Batman every time. I remember one year I tried to be the Joker, but my stepmom for some reason wouldn't let me actually paint my face white, so she just like drew a smile on my face. So like, there's nothing more embarrassing, even at Halloween time, than to have teeth drawn on your face.
Oh.
And then people are like, "What are you supposed to be?" I'm like, "Use your imagination. That's what I'm having to do."
If you had done that post Suicide Squad, you could have put damaged on your forehead.
That would have been great. She just write things on my face. She did the best she could, but she's worried that I couldn't handle the face paint for some reason. And anyway, so that was weird. And then one year I really wanted to do the Riddler, and that didn't end up coming together. And now, like I do with everything else, buying back my childhood and stuff, and things I always wanted when I was a kid, I'm getting all the costumes I didn't have when I was a kid. I would have killed when I was 10 or 12 for this suit. Such a thing, of course, did not exist. And we've started, I mean, we're finally merchandising 60s Batman again, and it's everywhere. And so you can do this stuff. It's great. But anyway, so yeah, I guess the first thing I did standing was Batman. And my favorite candy was always Milky Way.
Good stuff.
Yeah. Well, folks, that's going to be it for us tonight. We are all out of time. Thanks a bunch for watching. If you're watching this live on Geekvolution, this is a kind of special edition of our live Patreon Hangout. Oh, God! He's coming after me! Got the Michael Myers. Oh, my God. It's mortifying. I really thought you faded it out. But it's still going.
Hey, why is there Michael Myers in my room? Hey, will someone... Hey, get out of here.
Oh, Mike, how you been?
Wait, do we all have Michael Myers in our room?
Oh, hi, Michael.
Did he clone himself? What happened there? See, we all just start talking to him like he's our friend, thinking that'll solve the problem.
We got one Michael
Hey,
Myers.
it worked for me when I was a kid.
Yeah, exactly.
We're adapting David's tactics.
Like I said, this is kind of a special edition. Usually we keep these private and just for the Patreon subscribers. But we thought we would broadcast one for you. We might do this, excuse me, again down the line. Occasionally broadcast one of these publicly for the whole channel. If you'd like to try to do this with us, all you gotta do is go to Patreon, and it's at the lowest tier will allow you to hang out with me if you can get in the call. First come, first serve. It's the first 9 people that can jump in. And just $2 a month there on Patreon. We give you all kinds of other really fun things. Obviously, a thing that we just offer because it's fun, and I want to interact more with as much with folks as humanly possible. Thanks a bunch for just watching, if that's what you're doing. And everybody, thanks a bunch for watching this evening. I am Captain Logan, and this is the Patreon panel. Thanks for being here, guys. Appreciate you. Bye, everybody. We'll see you next time with more videos on Geekvolution. Bye, everybody. You guys gonna wave and say bye? Say bye.
Bye.
Kit Kats.